Kathleen, this is the port of entry where a lot of migrants will be processed for asylum. The rain now coming down again quite heavily. You can see that on my face here, but I'm my photographer. Pan down. Look at all this water. This is this grass area over here. This is even before you get to the beach. People have set up camp. They've made their tents. Very disruptive for many of the evacuees, having to make last minute plans on where they're going to stay, how they're going to drive out of here. You can see that the sidewalk has caved in. There's also a tree that is leaning over. It's just one of those stories that I surely won't forget, just by the way it made me feel watching that rescue, a very fragile situation. You know, the Ferris wheel is kind of where it's at. I'm getting this nice breeze and this nice sun, this great view of Hillcrest. Oh my gosh, I am stopped at the top of this. I was not prepared for this.
Lonnie Latang joins us live from North Park.
This is where they robbed a business and then went on to steal cars at gunpoint. Police are still here focused on this section behind me. That's where we believe the body was discovered earlier this morning. This is a grandma sticker. This is how much they love her. They went out and they even made stickers of this one-eyed little cute little chihuahua. People have been waiting several hours. They've been waiting days all weekend just to try and get back home. We're hoping to get an update here soon, but what police are able to confirm so far is a man got shot multiple times in the chest. He was rushed to the hospital. We're hoping to get an update on his condition. Kathleen, good evening. The Regional Task Force on Homelessness conducted this count across San Diego County. These are people that are living in their cars, on the sidewalk, on the side of highways, like the tent behind me here. There are faces behind these numbers. I spoke with a man who's been living on the street for more than a year. He shares his experience with me.
You can't pay the bills, you can't pay for rent, you gotta go somewhere. Somewhere is here.
Christopher Dubois is from Maine. He moved furniture for his career until he developed blood clots in his legs.
I had 3 pulmonary embolisms in my chest, in my lungs, and had a mild stroke. Therefore, I couldn't work anymore.
For a year and a half, he's lived on the streets of San Diego and in shelters.
And now I'm back on the street.
Tell us what that's like, not having a home, not being able to afford one.
Scary. Because what's next?
Emotional.
Yeah, great. But you gotta hide it, because it's looked on as a weakness.
It's sobering, but it is not surprising depending on what we see every day.
The Regional Task Force on Homelessness counted people living without a home in San Diego County. They found more than 10,000 people experiencing homelessness at any given night. Nearly split in half, more than 5,100 are unsheltered. Close to another 5,100 are in shelters and transitional housing.
The count also helps us understand the trends, the demographics of individuals, and really the depth and breadth of the challenges of the population.
For the first time, the task force is reaching people experiencing homelessness on Caltrans property. This led them to finding 661 more people.
It's a daunting task, but we know what we need to do. We need more adequate and appropriate shelter, and we need more housing that folks can afford.
The rents here are inflated to a point where I would have to have 6 of my buddies combined.
Mayor Todd Gloria says the numbers reinforce the need for an encampment ordinance. He encourages other cities to follow.
To actually house their own individuals who are becoming unsheltered, rather than passing them on to the city of San Diego and to our taxpayers to provide for.
But the task force says a ban on camping could mean more challenges.
People don't go away. We're pushing them out into areas that make it harder for them to connect to services.
Okay, so we can't do this. Where do we go? What do we do next? And then we're going to get to a point where we can't do that either. Right? So it's going to be a cycle.
San Diego City Council is going to discuss this unsafe camping ordinance on Tuesday. They're also going to discuss a short-term and long-term comprehensive shelter plan. Reporting live in the Midway District, I'm Lonnie Latang, Fox 5 News. Protesters claim that the library shouldn't reference anything regarding gender identity, sexual attraction, but the library tells us that they're all about diversity, inclusion, empathy, and that everyone is welcome here.
This is the first time that I've had somebody completely decimate a pride display. In protest.
A pride backlash at the Rancho Penasquitos branch library takes a new turn. It started when two people checked out all 20 books at the pride display, but not to read. One of them emailed the head librarian, Misty Jones, to express their disagreement.
Said that they felt like having those types of books on gender identity and sexuality was not appropriate for children to see. The display's not in the children's area, it's in the front of the library. And also I think it just discounts the fact that there are many, many children that have two moms, two dads. There are children that identify as LGBTQ. So this is not something that should be shielded from children.
Jones says the email indicated they wouldn't return the books until the library removed all of them permanently. San Diego libraries have put up pride displays for several years. What was your response to them when they said, I'm not giving your books back until you change your policy?
Yeah. So my response really was to try to, to let them know what the pride display is. It's like celebrating any kind of cultural celebration, a holiday or a different culture. That's what it is.
Advocates say people should be able to come to the library and see themselves. And when people protest by removing books, they say it forces that opposite opinion on others by denying access to those books and other materials. They also say it pushes an anti-LGBTQ rhetoric.
It was disappointing. But not surprising. Folks are trying to move us backwards. Folks are trying to strip the rights that the LGBTQ community has fought really hard to get, the visibility that we have fought really hard to get to.
Jen LaBarbera, the San Diego Pride Executive Director of Education and Advocacy, says we can learn from this protest.
This is when we need to be more visible and more vocal than ever as we see these increasing attacks on LGBTQ folks that are trying to remove us from public life.
Lives that the community is responding to positively. Other San Diego branches have sent replacement LGBTQ books. Jones says people are sending books, money to expand their pride displays.
Though this may be a very small minority of people that are protesting, is that the vast majority of people are, this is not right, and we want to do something, and we want to help you do something about it. The protesters have 30 days from the time they checked out those books to return them. The library says if they don't return those books, they'll have to pay to replace them, and that'll cost them $235. Reporting live in Rancho Penasquitos, I'm Alani Latang, Fox 5 News.